You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Welcome to the show. My name is Dave, and this is FFOP Radio from FFOPradio.com. Back for another great episode. Let me introduce you to my guest and co-host and so on and so forth for this episode. Should I keep that in? I'm going to keep it in.
Guys, well.
It's
keep it in.
It's a very special guest in town, all the way from lands unknown. Moderator Kayla on the show. What's up, Kayla?
Hi. I waved. Nobody can see, but I'm waving anyway.
Yeah, there's I
saw it.
The things that happen around here, a lot of the gesticulating, I feel like it comes across in the audio. People, you can feel it. I mean, I've obviously narrated a lot of what I've done on this show. But let me continue introducing all the people on the show. There's Krista over there.
I'm over here.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff, Kayla, so I don't know what to crack in with you. We've talked about conspiracy theories. You've got what are they called? Tales from your sojourn, right? Driving across the country like that. So I mean, I'll give you, since you're the mod of this show, what's on your mind?
Oh, go and put me on the spot without any kind of advance.
Well, that's what I like to do. When things get lazy, let's say, I'll make somebody else do it.
I've been thinking about nicknames a lot lately.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of my writing, I'm a writer, by the way. Unpublished, but it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point here. Let's start by unpacking your bio a little. So if you don't know Kayla, she's active on the Discord, on the Facebook, and on the Twitter, yada, yada, yada.
YouTube moderator.
So yeah, every time you see Kayla lurking and moderating thereof.
In one or three accounts.
Sometimes talking to themselves. But, at least it I'll give you this. It walks the line between credible and incredible, where you're like, oh, this is kind of a funny bit, but what if? So I commend you on the skill at which you handle that. It's not one way or the other definitively.
Well, when nobody's paying attention to me, I got to entertain myself.
That's true.
I feel like I do that a lot in the Discord. I feel like personally nobody, like if I'm typing stuff and nobody's online or whatever, I feel like nobody's going to read that. So I feel like that's just for me. And sometimes you're going to make yourself laugh. It's like I was telling Beck Salmon, the sound drops on the soundboard. No one can ever hear them. Until after, if they listen, but they're for me.
That's true.
So, sometimes you just got to make yourself laugh. So what about nicknames? If, are something related to that you wanted to go over? Are you kicking around some new ones?
Well, I've always been interested in nicknames. When I used to work, I used to have a job. I've worked many jobs, but I used to have a job at a comic book store. And when I got to the point where I just didn't care about worrying about other people's feelings, but having fun with it still.
Okay.
We just started nicknaming every customer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I got you.
And most of them knew what their nicknames. A few of them didn't. But most of them did. And it's kind of carried over into my life. And as I said, I'm a writer. I'm trying to get myself to a point where I can be published. And one of the things I love doing is nicknaming my main characters. But in the stuff that I'm writing now, no nicknames. And so I was just curious about where nicknames are in your life in general.
They're something I've always wanted to be a part of, but never got. Like I've had friends who've had nicknames, family members have had nicknames, like it always surrounded me, and I've always wanted something to click with me, but no one ever offered, and you can't make your own.
You had one nickname.
Did I?
When Summer's and Mary's kids were little, you were Uncle Lunch.
Uncle Lunch.
Uncle Lunch. There's a story behind that.
Yeah, so I guess, God, that's like A to Z. If you want to hear the root of that, so back a million years ago, my cousin and I used to play racquetball at World's Gym. And I said, I think it was like right after a breakup. And I was like, I'm never getting back with a girl. I'm never having kids. And if I do have a kid, I'm going to name him something stupid like Lunch. So then
That's
Lunch
where that came from?
Yeah, so then Lunch became my nickname. And then I was Uncle Lunch to all the young ones. It was a bizarre experience. So, you know, so nothing cool that ever stuck with a big group.
And so now you are a father.
Yeah.
How often has your progeny been called Lunch?
Not surprisingly low, you know, given the prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, you know, I've never claimed to be Nosferatu. Not Nosferatu.
This is going great.
Nostradamus. I've never claimed to be Nostradamus. So, you know, there's where it went. But I think we should do this. We did, or do what I'm about to say, not that you've heard my thoughts. I think what we should do is find somewhere, if you want, and publish that tandem writing project we did.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that was so fun. So, a little backstory for everybody listening. Kayla and I did basically a 2-person round robin through this Dungeons and Dragons style fantasy story. And at some point, it goes so far off the rails. It's akin to like a Rick and Morty episode, I feel, at times.
I think that's accurate.
And here's the thing, like writing that was such a trip because when we started, I was like, how serious do I take this? And with each successive turn, I was like, and finally, I don't know how it slipped to like time travel and a DeLorean. Like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite character was Barty McBee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I don't remember a lot of the details. I remember the character Barty McBee as a ripoff from Marty McFly. And I think it was Dr. Black.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I looked at it.
Yeah, it was Dr. Black and Barty McBee.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that story was 8 shades of crazy.
Now, full disclosure, we did write another story before that one.
Ooh.
And that was the one with the hikers out in the woods.
You're going to have to refresh my
Oh,
memory
wow. You
on
don't
that
remember
one.
that? And there was that green ooze that they found.
Oh, right.
And I thought that one came out pretty good, even as a first draft.
Was that like a horror comedy? Refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Where do we go with that? Okay.
Was that the one where you were like, I'm just going to start killing all these characters?
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now you're refreshing my memory. I kept trying to write you into a corner to kill somebody and you wouldn't do it. So finally I just snapped and I was like, that's it. I'm killing everybody. Like I turned into the story's protagonist and the serial killer and just murdered everybody.
Well, planned or not, I think that was an awesome thing because I wound up killing the main character towards the end. And I think that was one of the best death scenes and endings I've ever written in anything I've done.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was really surprised when you did that. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, everybody dies.
Yeah, everybody dies.
Y'all, Cliff's Notes version.
Yeah, but it's a classic horror. I feel like it's akin to like The Blob and not like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but something along those lines. Maybe like I don't want to say Dreamcatcher, but I guess that was so awful. But like in that sort of alien style.
Yeah.
I never finished that book. Dreamcatcher. It was
Yeah, I
so
wouldn't
long.
worry about it.
So long.
It's a coding dream.
Really?
Yeah, like Dreamcatcher, he wrote like after his car accident, high as a kite in the hospital, like by hand.
Wow.
A little bit of lore.
Good for him, I guess.
Yeah. When I try and write by hand when I'm half asleep, I can't read anything the next day.
Here's the thing, man. I do not get how artists can get fucked up, whether the thing is coke or weed or speed or booze or whatever. I don't understand how they can just get like intoxicated to the eyeballs and still be like wildly talented and not sloppy.
I'm barely coherent with caffeine.
Right. I'm barely coherent without caffeine. Like if I crank myself up to 11 with a nice pot of coffee, productive and everything goes fine. But like to live in that world of altered state and then like to go back to something and to be like, now I got to do this like this. I don't know, man. It was always a weird concept to me, but it happens all the time. So people find a way. It's like the chaos theory. Jeff Goldblum taught us that.
And we know everything Jeff Goldblum tells us is true.
Especially about apartments. I'm pretty sure I can trust what he says about apartments. Maybe about recycling too, but I don't want to get nitty gritty about that. Speaking of, have you seen any good movies recently? Or any old movies that you have found? Oh, I can tell you about The Last Dinosaur. Speaking of, I'm holding it up right now. Let's talk about that. No, I'm just kidding. I won't make you listen to that until after you're done.
Is that the same movie that used to be called Baby the Last Dinosaur?
No.
Baby the Last Dinosaur is a depressing ride through sauropod hell. This is Richard Boone and Japanese like Godzilla suit for dinosaurs. I love it. I think it's like the right type of shitty.
I think we've watched it 3 or 4 times since I bought that for him.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's a crossover from Raiders of the Lost Genre, the other show. And this is the only one that really sunk its teeth into me enough that I want to watch it again.
Nice.
I also got, what was it? The Land Unknown to watch that again. And I forgot that there's like actual, like, there's 2 lizards killing each other in that movie. And it spares you no detail, and it is gut-wrenching. And
like
I
real life
completely,
ones.
yeah, and I completely forgot about it. And it sucks. And I'm sorry I bought that DVD now. But it also came with The Leech Woman and Dr. Cyclops and Cult of the Cobra. So maybe those will not suck, although I've seen the other 2.
Anyway, have you seen any movies?
Yeah, back to
recently?
you.
Yeah, actually, I watched both of the Happy Death Day movies recently.
Oh, really? I've seen reviews for those. How did you find them?
I was really impressed. I've seen the first one previously, but I got my hands on both it and the sequel, and it was really cool. The first one is definitely more of a horror. It's sort of like Groundhog's Day meets Scream kind of thing.
Yeah, with that sort of infinite time loop mechanic.
But I didn't know this until after the fact. They had no intention of making a sequel when they made the first movie, but they came up with an idea after the fact that worked so well. The sequel takes place like the very next day once the Groundhog's Day effect is over, and it just works so beautifully. It's more of a comedy, and I definitely like comedy mixed with my horrors.
Yeah, that mechanic always screws with me a little. What's that? There's that weird physics movie that's like mumblecore, I feel, but it's like the teleporter or it's just called The Time Machine. And like, it's basically a physics nerd movie because we watched it with Trug and like he understood it and could understand like all the multiple copies in the different timelines, but it fucking lost me. And it drove the taste from my mouth like the first time I tasted a green olive.
Sounds like you need to start small with Ashton Kutcher and the Butterfly Effect.
I always start with Ashton Kutcher with everything I do. So that'll be easy.
Movie. I liked the Butterfly
I've never seen
Effect.
it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
It was definitely, I like that kind of like psychological thriller movies, and that was probably one of the first ones that I saw.
Is it a psychological thriller? I thought he was like going actually back in time. It's like a time travel.
He was, but the point of the movie was more about how it was affecting him while he did it.
Right.
Because he kept trying to change things.
Oh, yeah.
His whole mental state was like, woo, like a big roller coaster.
It's like the camera that came up on the show recently.
Yep.
To be honest, I was more interested in the Invader Zim episode with the squishy pig. It's the same story.
I like the Invader Zim episode where the dad says, diarrhea. Boy, do I love that episode. If I had that on a sound drop, I would play it right now and then never stop playing it. But we live in reality.
It's
so
strange that we literally never had that sound drop ever.
I know. Like, it's such a great sound drop. Not to like.
We've got 700 of them, and that's not one of them.
Yeah, diarrhea. Maybe my favorite word. Like, it's my go-to word. Like, you know, most people's random silly go-to word is like banana or monkey or pirate or some bullshit. Diarrhea hits people hard and fast, and they love it.
I'm pretty sure I
Just
literally.
like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I walked into the room,
It's always a surprise.
and he said it. I walked into the room pre-show, and he said like something like diarrhea, and I was like, "What did you just say?"
I don't remember why I was saying it.
I don't know either. You were just looking at the chair, so I don't know. You were putting the microphone on the chair.
Yeah.
Maybe you were thinking about your genealogy because it's hereditary.
It's in your genes. It runs in
is.
it. I don't know. It's childish. I'll grant you that, but still.
But the best stuff is.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is when Elliot farts and he goes, "Farted."
Ay, he farts too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think people like to go, like, their go-to word needs to be, I mean, because I grew up among that maybe you did too, that generation where like, it was like that non sequitur, like random lol, but like before the internet, like randomness was like so funny. Everybody's saying this is random, so random. I got so fucking fed up with that because it was always the same shit. It was so predictable. It was like a goth saying, we dress like this to break out. Now leave me and my 12 carbon copies alone and to our, togetherness and the separateness. Oh my God. But it probably missed that generation, or my generation probably was after yours.
Just a smidge.
Little bit. Maybe you didn't live with that whole random bullshit. Oh, but it was bad. I'll tell you that.
I mean, that went through my generation.
Yeah, maybe that's just be like maybe a through line through junior high.
Yeah. So random.
So I'm just feeling so random today. People would say that to me, and I wanted to wring their goddamn necks.
They used to write it on their, when you like
Random.
had school books.
Yeah.
And you had the paper wrapping on.
What's
the school
so random
books?
about screaming random, bitch? Like that is the most consistent fucking thing you fucking do. I'm just feeling so random today. Oh, really? That's the 8th time you've said that. Like it would be like if pulling a slot machine always was cherries.
I feel like saying
random.
I'm so random today is like before you realize that you're just having like a weird scatterbrained day, like where you can't focus and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
when you're
but-
12, you don't know like
Maybe, but
that your head is doing that.
it maybe went from one to the other. I think it was the kids who came up with like, oh, lol, because random just feels like the analog version of lol.
Yeah.
Like lol is the grandchild, but they still live together because kids will still say so random. I feel so random. Like, I don't know. Kayla. Me and Adam are always fighting about the meanings of words and if they exist or bother with them or not. And if we're going to say they exist and agree on that, let's fucking agree that they mean something. I don't want to hear random like more than any other word. So, that's what I'm saying. Diarrhea. It's funny.
Diarrhea is funny. And I think you just finally explained a character to me in the comic books. There was a character in the Marvel Comics X Factor named Random. His superpower had absolutely nothing to do with being random.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he was named that because it was a popular word.
Yeah, I would totally believe that. He probably popped like 1992.
Something like that. I think so.
Some highfalutin executive at Marvel was like, you know what fucking kids love?
Random.
The word random for some reason. Like, I feel like if you were driving past a zoo and you like riding past the birds, you hear all the squawks and shit. If you drive past the school, you just hear random. And like prairie dogs and shit just barking at each other. Oh, it was a miserable time to be alive if you had to live through it and did not appreciate the word being so misused. People have a similar feeling about the word epic.
Epic.
People overuse. I don't think it happens anymore, or as much,
That
I
was
should say.
so epic.
Yeah, everything was epic. I'm like, bitch. Sure, back in the day, I did have sort of an axe to grind about that one because an epic is like a 10-year journey. Like your burrito is not epic unless it's going to sit in your lower GI for the next 9 years and 364 days.
It might.
Wow, that's even longer than bubblegum.
Myth debunked, right? By the way, thank you, Jamie, and the other one, right?
Jamie and not Jamie.
Yeah, who are the MythBusters?
Oh my God, Jamie and
Adam Savage. There you go. Interesting. Well, not really. When he says, oh God, what's that quote? I reject your reality and substitute my own. It's a quote from an obscure movie that I'll leave you to find out. I'm starting my own ARG. And that's the start of it right there. Do you know what an ARG is, Kayla?
Not a clue, but if you give me long enough, I can probably make something up.
It's an augmented reality game. So basically, you just throw a bunch of bullshit on the internet and people think it's real. And people love mysteries. So like Reddit's full of them, 4chan's full of them. Basically, you just say something cryptic that leads to something seemingly unrelated and wait for somebody to draw the connection. And that's what I just did.
Nice.
Do you remember what it was?
that quote.
Jamie Savage.
Jamie Savage. Damn it! You broke the cryptogram already. The solved answer, the riddle. Jamie Savage. Solved right here. Goodbye, ARG.
I didn't realize 4chan was still a thing.
Yeah, it's got to be right. Nothing on the internet ever dies. I was watching, somebody was saying something about 2chan.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's got a
Is it
wiki.
half as good as 4chan?
I assume. Or maybe it has half as many rooms. Like there are huge, what are they called? Message boards and shit just dedicated to lol cows, Kiwi Farms.
What?
Yeah. Kiwi Farms is where people go to talk about lol cows. You know what a lol cow is, Kayla?
Sounds like a laughing cow.
It is a person that the internet trolls will milk for content. Chris Chan being probably the most famous. He is considered a lol, she, they, whatever they are now. I forget of the mythology. I've left a while ago of the Church of Chan.
Like before she got arrested?
Yeah, so I don't know where that is, but whatever. Moral of the story is, yeah, there's a bunch of people out there like that. There's like, or the Temple of Teacap. We talk about that on this show. The Church of Cod. That's a real ass thing.
Yep.
There's a church for anything if you look hard enough.
It's weird. I wonder how hard it is to get church status, because if Scientology did it, and they were getting fought back against, and they still did it. It must be, I could be able to do it, right?
Absolutely.
I've got I probably have to order another one, but I could just as easily become a pastor again.
You've got all of the holy tomes of Battlefield Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would make people swear on one of my original, what are they called? First editions. I've got 3 of them, so I'll burn one on the...
How can you have 3 of them? There can only be one first edition.
Well, they haven't Highlandered each other yet. So until that day, I've got 3. So I'll have one where the plebs will touch and swear their allegiance to the cult on. One will stay behind like plexiglass. And then one, I don't know, I'll use it in ARG. I'll cut out pieces and mail it to people, and that'll be cool. Or maybe I'll burn one of the newer ones on that. I'm not going to burn an original on that. That was a dumb idea. Vetoed.
Like it never happened.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I've only got 9 copies, so we've got a very fine, and they only made 14 billion of them per capita.
Right.
So we've got to be very, what's the word? Not stingy. I don't want to say like we're stingy. We're going to be rich. We're going to have our own cult. But we've got to be sparing with them. Maybe I should do that. That'd be a fun craft. Make a piñata out of Battlefield Earth pages.
What would you make it of?
L. Ron Hubbard. Or a spaceship. A DC-10.
Do it of the alien god.
I don't know what Xena looks like, but I know that their spaceships are like McDonnell Douglas DC-10s, I think, or DC-17s. It's in the Holy Scripture.
Or how about shape it like a frying pan?
Why?
Isn't that what they drank out of?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember much of the... After I, reached my cap of Hubbard, after I move on, the rest of the...
I'm talking about Battlefield Earth, not Scientologists in general.
Oh, no, they don't drink out of frying pans. They drink out of saucepans. Okay, yeah, now I get the reference. I thought you were talking about what Scientologists did, not what happened in Battlefield Earth. Yeah, that I can completely confirm. They drink out of saucepans. Dumbass book. Oh, my God. But, I read it. I feel like I should read it again because it was at least funny at times.
It's 1,000 pages.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it, too. Something... I don't want to say that, like, I wasn't being brainwashed or I wasn't really being led anywhere, but something through that book kept making me read it. I don't know if it's because it kept making me angry and I kept thinking, like, no, it can't keep going like this. And it never did. It went somewhere different every page. It was fucking bonkers. Like, I shit you not, like, 2/3 of the way through the book. So Johnny Goodboy Tyler, fucking dumbass name, starting out as a caveman, by like the second third of the book is sitting in an intergalactic council after having taught himself how to use all this alien spacecraft, and that's on top of using the Harrier jets they found at the fucking Lockheed. And then it's like, then the real plot starts. So they're like, how do we get an A-bomb to planet Cyclo? And that goes on for so fucking long. Oh my God. And they talk about the pills in the back of their head for so long. Like it's like, this is when I want to find out when this was written, because this is when L. Ron had finally had enough of like psychology. He's like, no, God damn it, I won't take your pills. Because this is when he doubles down on it in the book. It has to be when the last psychologist was like, you're crazy, please leave. And he had finally burned that last bridge. Because, oh my God, it is so... If the allegory were butter and the metaphor were toast, you would not see the toast. Jesus Christ. But still, I read it, and I remember a lot of it, so that says something.
It sure does.
I don't remember a lot of... I remember... Okay, maybe you've read this, and I'm going to recommend it, because I think it'll hold up today. Did you ever read The Castle in the Attic?
No.
Awesome, I think. I read it a lot as a kid, and I don't know if it holds up, and I have a copy, and I haven't gone back to it, because I don't want to, if it is sucky as an adult, ruin it. So maybe I'll make you read it now and tell me if it sucks.
Okay, this is going to be a long podcast.
Yeah, you can read it aloud. The copy is under that desk right there, if you'll be so kind as to start leafing through the pages. But not a bad experiment, reading a child's book as an adult again to see if it, quote-unquote, wrecked your childhood. I never understood that phrase. You say, my childhood. There's no such thing as time travel. Like, they may have ruined now, but your childhood's still intact, right? I mean, unless George Lucas has a time machine.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, well, that's the only place it exists.
Right. I don't remember a lot of mine.
Yeah, so it can't be ruined. It's clean as a whistle.
The whole point of being an adult is being able to see it in perspective.
And to complain that it was ruined here in the present.
Yes.
Oh, no, now my childhood's ruined. Like, I could say that those movies you brought me ruined my childhood, but it's still intact. Still there. They did not go back in time. But I'm starting to have vague recollections of a DVD coming through a portal and pushing me down into some mud. I don't know.
Through a portal, huh?
Yeah, I might
Trying
have.
to push the DVD into a VHS machine?
Oh, yeah.
Wah, wah.
I don't know. There was some sort of quantum physics involved, I'm sure, but I'm definitely developing some sort of ghost memory. Maybe it's a conspiracy memory.
Ooh.
And there's money involved. Believe you me. This thing has legs. Time traveling DVDs that ruin your childhood, not radioactively, but retroactively.
Mm-hmm. Maybe with a little bit of radio.
Maybe radioactively too.
Yeah.
That's how it got its legs.
Right.
Yeah.
And turn into a V video.
A V video. A VHS cassette.
Yeah, the VHS.
It's some sort of horrible hybrid, which I assume couldn't work. But
As long as it has the two
with science.
circles.
Speaking of science things that wouldn't work, have you heard of something called an immortalist?
I can't say that I have.
So there are nut jobs who believe that they, by just thinking that they can, will live forever. And a lot of them died. Like the three founders who started it, one of them died, and he,
Believe it.
Obviously, he didn't have to defend himself in court.
Didn't believe hard enough.
But that's the thing. His two compatriots who still believe in it, which is hilarious because people keep calling out. Sometimes they're rude about it, sometimes they're not. But they go, you're making these claims that you're not going to ever die, but you're clearly aging. What up with that?
There's only 3 people.
Well, there's 2 now.
There's only 2 people in the world that are immortalists.
Well, they were the founder of it started as immortalist, then it branched off into all these churches and cryonics and cryogenics and freezing heads and stuff. And there was this whole legal battle where the courts wanted this guy's mother's head, who he removed and froze after she quote unquote died.
Oh,
It was very
this is suspicious.
It was very Reanimator. If you look into the cryonics timeline, it's almost like word for word Herbert West Reanimator. Like it's basically like, oh damn it, they weren't fresh enough, because every time they freeze someone, it's like minutes and or days and or weeks, and they go, well, we're not actually. Well, maybe we're saving it, maybe we're not. And then a bunch of doctors were like, no, you're saving jelly, and then the whole thing was moot because the building burnt down. So whatever. From the first guy to the 21st guy, gone. So they'll never be resurrected despite buying all that liquid nitrogen. That's neither here nor in between. Moral of the story is, I'm waiting because the two of them are still alive to this day and on Twitter.
They tweet? How old are they?
The woman's in her 70s, and I think the man's close thereafter. So, yeah, and their church keeps getting smaller, obviously, because the only people who really buy into it are desperate people, and those people are old, and they're dropping like flies.
See, I don't remember this, but I remember there was a big thing many years ago about a guy who was selling Immortality Rings. And his name escapes me, but there were these rings, and I believe you wore one on each pinky. And he had the disclaimer that it didn't protect you from disease or accidental death, that kind of thing. Yeah. But there was this whole FAQ on his page, and he's asking if it works, and he says, "Well, it's working for me. I'm still alive so far."
Yeah, and that's the thing that everybody in this community always goes back to. They go, "Well, I haven't died yet, so prove me wrong, I guess." And that's the thing. It's the perfect crime, essentially, because once you die and you commit the crime that you said you never would, you are now exempt. Like the dude of the trio who died, like he'll never have to answer a single question. And that's the beauty of it. They know they'll never have to. The woman can keep wearing her weird like bob cut wigs, and the dude can keep combing his hair and putting Grecian formula in it. But we all have eyes. But that's the thing we were talking about with baked salmon. No matter how outlandish the claim, there's going to be a sliver of the population who will believe anything. So,
and there, let's make it all fun.
Right. So I say, I guess, good on you. I say, that's the thing. If you fall into a cult or if you fall into a pyramid scheme or whatever like that, I mean, if you didn't see your way out of the trap before you sprung, like that's how that works. And sorry, right? Like I've done a bunch of stupid shit from birth till now, to present day, still doing it. Freedom of choice, I guess. It's just when they get weird and start, buying lots of land and wearing the same shoes and stuff. That's when you got to get worried.
I was trying to look for Immortality Ring and who made it, but everything I look up talks about Lucifer's Ring from the Lucifer show or Vampire Diaries or... Well,
hey, if you were going to make a... no, the devil wouldn't give you immortality.
Immortality Proclamation Jewelry. Unique silver dragon ring, handcrafted in solid, non-tarnished, continuum silver.
Indulge me in this thought.
$525.
Jesus. Indulge me in this thought experiment. How long do you think, like if you were to ask the devil for an extended life, because he's not going to give you immortality because he needs your soul. How long do you think he'd give you before he's like, no, that's too long? And keep in mind, his calendar is pretty much open. He is infinite himself. So what do you think a soul is worth in years human-wise?
Well, being that it's the devil, I think it would all depend on what other kind of wickedness he has planned in the world.
Yeah, but so you're saying how would it fit? Like if it would fuck with a grand scheme the devil has planned?
Because if he's gonna take you eventually, being the devil, he'd want it to be the most satisfying for him.
Right, but that's like an impossible to answer question. Because if you ask the devil, like, if you say, give me 10,000 years, he says, I can't. You say, why not? And he's like, no, I just don't want to. Like, so if there was a reason, like if Armageddon were around the corner, I'm sure he wouldn't be like, oh, because you're going to be reaped no matter what in 500 years or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of legalese. The devil has a lot of stipulations, man. Back in the day, you just had to he would just offer you something. What happened to that? I miss that. Just waiting around for the devil to offer you something, because it just felt like in stories it was just like inevitable. It's like quicksand, something you were going to encounter.
I think it was after he lost that one violin battle, he wound up going into law.
But then how would a tighter contract? Because that's the thing. I think that maybe you're right. Maybe he gave up the arts for the sciences of law. All right, I'm on board. I'm on board with this idea. You've won me over.
I gave up the sciences to work in art, so why not the other way around for him?
Yeah, I bet probably when, what was it? Who did it? Charlie Daniels?
Right.
I bet after Charlie Daniels stole the devil's fiddle made of gold, he got into law because he's like, you know what? Fuck this. Because the devil, despite all of his faults, I'm sure, has to be fair. Because he's the devil, and he's, whatever. You have to be fair in what you do. So if he knew he was bested, he is the bigger, or rather a big enough deity, man, whatever, to be like, you got me. So yeah, it would be so much easier to be like, actually, it's in the contract. Boom. There's no bullshitting. It's not like, well, how good are you at whistling? No. It's like, you signed the thing. Now get in the fucking van,
It's
right?
all about the loopholes.
Yeah. And if you say, well, how good are you at fiddling? Diddly-diddly-dee. Oh, shit, you were better. Then not only do you have to because that's the thing. Not only are you going to have to live it down in the moment, but that story is going to get out. Especially if you go down south and they believe all that crazy shit. Someone comes back, and of course he's going to have the money to back it up. He's got a fiddle made of fucking gold.
Yeah, and it turns into a song. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can't, the devil, I feel like, you don't want to think of, the Prince of Darkness as being stupid. But in a lot of his entanglements with mankind, I feel like they were learning experiences for him. Because I feel like every time he comes up and grants something, somebody always fucks him over. And so he's like, no, I'm done doing that sort of shit. So maybe that's why he doesn't, all those musicians that supposedly made the pacts with the devil, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, yada, yada, yada. After that, he's like, you know what? This is too much fucking hassle. I'm out of the music business. So who is doing really well right now? That is who you got to go toward and pray that way, I bet.
That's why Tenacious D went around the whole contract thing and just stole his tooth. Pick a destiny.
But he wasn't. I'm trying to remember the lore of that song. He just asked them to play the best song in the world, right?
Well, that's a different song.
Right. But he said he'll eat their souls. Right. Yeah, but again, that proves the point. He was man enough to say this is the best song in the world. And he didn't take their souls. And they talk about it in the song that references the song.
Right. Yeah, their tribute to it.
Yeah. So there you go. But I am now not in disbelief of that tall tale. That's why that song doesn't exist. Fucking Charlie Daniels will play the shit he played for you for the devil. Tenacious D never met the devil. That's why that song didn't exist. Liars. Charlie Daniels confirmed meeting the devil. Number 1, Fiddle of Gold. Number 2, he could back it up by playing the song again.
I think Jack Black owes us an apology.
Yeah. Hashtag apologize for meeting the devil, you liar. Might be a little too long for a hashtag. I'm not good at Twitter.
did you know there was a book written in 1902 called The Progression to Immortality?
I didn't specifically, but there's a bunch of texts on how to, whether it's spiritually or herbally or dietarily, there's a million different ways to live forever, but
It's just on a Google Doc.
oh, cool. That's where the ancient texts of like the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. I'm just leafing through Google Docs. Like,
it's
shit.
like stamped and everything. They just transposed it to they just scanned it on our scanner.
Yeah.
At
Little known fact about the Rosetta
library.
Stone, it's actually just a Google Doc.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, look at that. This some of it was corrupted. I don't know why they chiseled it into stone. Someone got big nuts about it, but it's a Google Doc. Yeah, most of that shit, like the Titanic, just a Google Doc. Not actually there. What were we talking about before that? Before you so rudely interrupted me with your diatribe about Google Docs?
Well, we talked about immortality, which made me want to look it up. The Immortality
we
Rings.
moved on, or at
We
least
talked about
I
the
had.
devil, because I talked about Lucifer, and then
Yeah,
Tenacious D not meeting the devil.
Whatever. I think the devil is fertile ground for talking about because he is a fun character. He's in the Marvel Universe. I've got a collector card of him right down there.
Eric Larson has him trademarked for Savage Dragon comics.
What, the devil?
Oh, yeah.
Like, quote unquote, the devil?
Oh, yes. He's
I'll be
trademarked God and Jesus, too.
How do you trademark those? I guess you just do it,
He
but
just did it.
because nobody else did. Nobody else probably thought you could.
But he probably did it like in a time before, because I'm sure they've closed that loophole. Like if something is huge like that, I don't know if you can do that anymore. Because that people try that all the time. Like when the Got Milk try to say they quote got what? No, it was too big, so they had to say, well, whatever. So got, begot, and begot, and begot. It was like that intel inside. Once something becomes too big, it blows apart, and it's like the coronavirus, right? Once enough cells rupture and there's enough replicants of all these intel insides or go or got or whatever. Once there's the Calvin things, even though that is technically the public domain, you just say, the hell with it. But Disney, they'll sue your ass off, so don't do it.
Yeah.
Unless Pooh isn't wearing his red shirt.
Ooh, then it's fair game.
That's fair game. That's canonical to the show too, Kayla. I tell everybody this: if you want to steal Winnie the Pooh, you can. Just pre-red shirt. It's public domain.
Well, because if he has his red shirt on, he's going to die with the rest of the security crew on Star Trek.
Yeah, always like every episode of Star Trek ended with Pooh just like dead over a rock or over a log, or like being drugged into an alien plant.
Oh, bother.
Oh,
if
man.
only I didn't have my red shirt.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, but I'm going to recommend it. There's somebody on Twitter who every day photoshops Paddington Bear into a screenshot of a movie or a TV show.
No, I haven't seen it, but it sounds cool.
It's fucking hilarious. And I don't know why I started telling you that story.
Winnie the Pooh going into Star Trek with the
Oh,
red
yeah,
shirt.
yeah. Okay. So you can totally do that. But that's the thing. We're stuck now with the shirtless Pooh. So we can't do that bit. We're going to have to find something else. But still, fair game. Winnie the Pooh, up for grabs. The nude one. We could totally. I wouldn't have to rip off this Winnie the Pooh if we did another writing project. As long as I said he was totally nude.
You could do something that's a little more on brand, like maybe you find a way to start photoshopping Gilgamesh into something. All kinds of something that's public domain.
I'll find like a stone etching of what they think Gilgamesh would have looked like, and just have him hanging out places. But that's the thing, like the Paddington Bear fits in so seamlessly. Half the time I'm like, where is he? It's like another character. Magnifique. I forget who does it too. And I don't even know how I found it. That's the beauty of Twitter. It's like sticking your face into a bucket of shit. See what sticks, and you look in the mirror, and you pick off the ones you like.
Yeah, I only follow a handful of people on Twitter. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't. It just doesn't click for me. Like I follow you guys and like Christopher Maloney.
Once you get the idea behind it and the idea of threads and the idea of communities and shit, it makes a lot more sense.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's basically like a giant spreadsheet if you want to think of it like that.
Oh.
Because holy shit.
It's like a spider web. And just
basically, because one will drop down, and each one of those drop downs will have a drop down. It's like a fucking fractal nightmare.
Well, like when I tweeted that I was looking for a graphic designer for my logo for Grow On, I mean, I got probably 20-something followers just from people wanting me to pay them to do a logo.
Oh, yeah. Like
it was insane how many messages I got to do a logo.
Yeah. Twitter is probably the weirdest well, I haven't been on the dark web, so full disclosure there. But probably the weirdest place on the internet is Twitter, because it's kind of like fishing. You can flick something out, nothing. But if you use a buzzword or the right bait, that's why I don't think it should be called Twitter. It should be called something related to fish, which I don't have a clever thing for the top of my head. Mackerel. But
trying to think of fish.
What would you call the messages? Because like the tweets for Twitter,
bait. It would be bait. Tweets would be bait because you're baiting people.
So it'd be bait for mackerel. Check it. You see my hilarious. You see my latest bait? Oh man, check out this bait that I just baited. Oh man, there's a sub bait to this. But no, people would hate that bait. Oh my god. Oh, you going to download mackerel? No, I don't want to say bait fucking 9,000 times a day. It's lewd and lascivious. Bait. Ugh, a Christian woman wouldn't say that.
Lure.
No, because that's predatory. You can't.
Oh my god!
It has to be a sound based on the animal, the fucking thing.
A blub.
A blub?
No, nobody wants to blub or glub or bloop. Like blubbles make awful sounds. No one would do that.
Blog. That's not much different than blub.
That's a web log. That's not a sound you hear in nature. People aren't like going like blog. No, it's a thing. It's a weblog.
Yeah, we used to think people wouldn't walk around saying lol either, but there you go.
Lol,
Random. Epic.
So random. That's an epic random lol. Jesus. Whatever. All you can do is like sit back and watch this crazy shit that flies by. And now that the internet's a thing, you don't even have to like defend yourself for being old anymore. Like anytime, oh my God, nobody does it anymore because I think that my concept is real. But every time someone accuses me of being old for not knowing something, I go, dude, or lady, whoever I'm talking to, I go, dude, a lady. Like there's so many, like now that the internet's a thing and you have access to like everything that's ever been recorded ever, and there's more all the time. How do you expect me to get into the niche thing? Like back when it was like fucking 8 channels and you didn't like Gilligan's Island, fine, lynch me. But now that the internet is there and it's like an ocean of shit, nobody can point at anybody and be like, how do you not know about? Because how would I? Like, bitch, there's a million things out there. It's crazy. So bulletproof is what I'm getting at about the age thing. Yeah.
For the listeners out there who can't see us, I'm nodding silently.
Yeah, that's the great addition to the podcast. We'll have that would be brilliant. If I could have someone doing Morse code for people with well, I guess you'll also be hearing it, but to put because there was an ARG that used Morse code. So I'll just like put Morse code into the podcast of just like the actions happening in the room. And that'll lead to like graffiti on some famous landmark and then bam, money somehow. I don't know why people do ARGs.
I still don't understand what an ARG is.
Augmented reality game. So people will make fictional histories or alternate presents or make up characters and place tidbits in message boards or on YouTube or wherever. They basically
kind of like an anagram.
Like discovering
No, not at all.
Bear in a movie that he wasn't in?
No. But it can use that sort of element. So the one that I can give you is like there was a fake band that had a band camp with an album that the name was related to something on a message board completely unrelated that was then linked to a YouTube video of a channel not related to any of the two that these people found and put all these pieces together. And then the person making it was like, I'm done, and never finished it.
How do you figure that? How?
Well, it's sort of Machiavellian. You have to make the plan first and then you put the pieces out.
No, I mean, how do people figure it out?
Oftentimes,
They find clues.
My gut says because they're often spurred by anonymous posters, and those are the people who set up the thing.
I see.
Like there was a big Reddit one where like people were gathering in all these crowds trying to meet this person, and if I had the time, it might be fun to fuck with people, but it just feels like there's like it kind of feels like
Random.
Not random, it just feels pointless.
Epically pointless.
Because, like, when you hack something, you're proving you can do it. But with, like, an ARG, you're just building this alternate series of events, either in reality, history, future, yada, 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 hoping people get on board enough to pull all the pieces together. And then what? Like, it always pays off. And like, it was viral marketing for sunglasses or something. Like Blair Witch was like this. When like this is, I guess, the original was the original was God damn it. The Blair Witch was the original ARG because they had all that viral marketing and people thought it was real and people were connecting pieces from different websites. And then they were like, got it, it's a movie. So it's that, just without Blair Witch at the end. It's just somebody doing it for the fuck of it. Or maybe, this is the thing, I don't understand why you do it unless it's just for the giggles. Which I'll grant, because people do stuff for no reason all the time. No reason other than the enjoyment of it.
That's interesting.
But it seems like these things take a fuck ton of work. So they would have to be orchestrated by either someone who has a lot of time on their hands or a bunch of people. And then it's just like, wow, it's amazing.
That kind of reminds me, and it's probably nothing like it at all, but like people that do like geocaching, that's physical things, but like, don't you have like a...
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Geocaching is like the finer point of it. This is taking all of those coordinates. Like if geocaching for a certain area each held a clue that led to a larger narrative. Mm-hmm. It's just a building of things that you collect into this larger narrative.
I see.
I think this is pretty interesting. I'll bet you could do something because you have different platforms. You could hide a certain clue on the Facebook page and something else on like a YouTube video and something else on your Twitter account. And
yeah, but then I would have to find someone to like care and like look and be interested in like ARGs and like. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen or it won't happen, but it would take a lot of time and energy and effort, and then I would have to figure out why I would do it.
Well, I bet if you made it, like, for a YouTube video, if you made it as a buzzword, ARG, in your title, it would probably lead people that are in that...
Well, that's not the point of an
cult.
ARG. It's like it's sort of the part of... At least to my understanding, a lot of it is the art of subterfuge, where you get as many people believing that this mystery that's unfolding before them is real. Like it can be something as simple as like a deep fake on Facebook where, it's just a single person doing whatever run by an AI or a person, and people can speculate on and put together all the clues of a single whatever to all and sundry.
Huh.
So that's the thing. I don't know why I would do it, even though it sounds fun, because like it's like a scavenger hunt where in the end you find out that you've done a bunch of research and like it pays for itself.
Half the fun is to let other people try and find these clues and connect them themselves when it doesn't actually mean anything, right?
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. To all the listeners out there, this is your only hint. Your first clue is in this podcast. It's up to you to find the rest.
Good luck. Maybe that's it too. It's kind of like fan theories turned up to 11. Because it's like, if you are expanding on somebody else's universe, you're eventually going to want to get up the nuts to make your own and then to involve other people in it. And I can't think of a higher version of that than whatever this is, getting all of these people involved and thinking it's real. Like that's probably like the hacker's version of like getting a virus into something and just being like, I left something in Sony servers and PS, check your shit, Sony, or whatever. Basically, it's like leaving your mark. But the payoff seems so small to me because like you'd have to be invested in the message boards or in all the mediums and having to keep up all the time and like constantly seed if the trail goes dry, and some people will just stop. And so it's a minefield like every other hobby out there. I don't know. It's weird. But if other people do it and I'll watch it and they'll go, oh, yeah, they just ended it. And I go, oh, well, I didn't waste the time. I only wasted, half an hour worth on a video, and you wasted 7 or 8 months. And all this research.
Some people like the research.
Oh, I know. That's what they're there for. I don't like the research. I like hearing the narrative.
Yeah.
Whether it's solved or not. And I don't like unsolved mysteries, but if you say, well, it'll never end because the guy left it unfinished, fine. Like if fiction ends on a cliffhanger, I don't care. But I don't like unsolved mysteries as far as like true crime and stuff. But, that's the thing about these ARGs is like it can be whatever and wherever, but it would take so much legwork. Oh my God.
It's like a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like, to figure it out.
Like it would have to be like your college thesis. If you wanted to make a good one, I mean, you could just bullshit your way and do like a deep fake of somebody or something on a Facebook or a Twitter and like whatever. But to do something like actually fun and like worth everybody's time and energy, that would be like beyond my, I'm cold on the idea. I'm going to stick with the virtual shopping that hopefully nobody is stealing, even though I know you are. I know you are, guys. It's okay. But Baked Salmon might sue you.
He might.
He might be litigious. Oh, man. Well, tell you what, Kayla, why don't we start wrapping it up with a round of staff recommendations?
Sounds good. Do you mind if I recommend another podcast?
No, not at all.
There is a comedy audio drama called We Fix Space Junk. And at the time of this recording, they are celebrating their anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
So it will have already come and gone by the time this drops, but
it's out there.
It's a really good show, and I recommend it. It's a sci-fi escapade about a couple of people who are out there fixing basically space junk and under the thumb of the omnipresent corporation that controls them, and hijinks ensue.
Nice.
Give it a listen.
Where... This is how stupid I am. Where do you think we can post those stories we did so people can read them? I guess we don't have to hash that now, but I guess I'll keep you guys posted on the Facebook or Discord or Twitter or whatever if you want to read those, because I think it's worth your time. I completely forgot about the first alien one.
Well, that was the one that you told me about, and you're like, I'm just going to kill all these people.
Yeah, and I totally forgot, and how much I love killing off all of those characters. So I'll keep you guys posted, and that'll be my recommendation, to keep your eyes out for that. Krista, what do you want to recommend?
I'm going to recommend Dashing Diva Nails. So Dashing Diva sells like press-on nails and nail polish.
Press-ons.
Press-on nails, polish, and like strips, I think, and I love them. They're not crazy expensive. They usually do a bunch of sales and stuff, and they have so many different designs and colors.
Akin to like a LuLaRoe model?
No, they're not a pyramid scheme. They're just they're an actual company. They're not like Color Street that is a MLM. Be
so weird now, but here's the thing. Maybe this is my secondary recommendation, because that LuLaRoe documentary taught me a lot, is be a customer of the friend who is in the pyramid scheme early, before shit hits the fan and the quality of the product takes a shit.
Yes, that's what I did. I was a customer of LuLaRoe before they got to shit, and then I left being a customer of LuLaRoe.
So if somebody gets into a pyramid scheme, say, oh, how long have they been around? And if it's under a year, try their shit as a customer.
Yes, and also support local before you support.
Yeah, don't. I mean, whatever. People are gonna constantly be doing pyramid schemes.
Yeah, I mean, I
other.
started with the one, and I still get their makeup. I don't push it to people, and it's whatever. I don't think their policies are as bad as other places, but yeah, support local before you
do pyramid. Plus, the pyramids are built by aliens. We all know that.
Yeah.
And therefore, all of their schemes are of the devil. Because, again, we all know that aliens and the devil work in cahoots.
Yep. And they could be part of an ARG together.
They are part of an ARG at the center of the earth that is hollow.
They're totally random and epic.
Totally random and totally lolling.
We just brought it all around, and now we're done.
And we can talk about it because they're not wearing the red shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not dead. Thank you.
Don't forget about Naked Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah. Totally up for grab, guys. God knows how long we have until that red shirt goes on. And then what are they going to do?
It's got to be soon. I mean, how far did he go with no shirt on to a shirt? He's got to be coming up soon.
Well, I don't know, because did they exist before Disney bought that property? Because I don't think that was an expressly Disney property, was it?
I bet there's a documentary about it.
Probably. But here I'm going to postulate. This is what happened. It's an ARG. What happened was, when Disney bought it, Pooh didn't have the shirt. Time goes on, they do a couple books, and they go, you know what? We're going to make a cartoon, put a shirt on his ass. Bam. That's how it happened.
But none of the other ones have shirts.
But
Tigger doesn't have a shirt. Piglet doesn't have a shirt.
Main characters. And
they're all main characters. The non-main characters are like the owl.
Piglet's outfit is implied. Eeyore is a four-legged animal, so the genitals are out of sight, out of mind, so you don't have to draw them.
But putting a shirt on a bear does not cover genitals.
Yeah, but he doesn't have genitals. Donald Duck doesn't have genitals. He still wears from the waist up shit.
And Mickey wears waist down.
Yeah, cartoon characters are off their rockers.
It's like Daniel Tiger. He's the only one that wears wears pants.
But
in that show,
he's an educational cartoon.
Or he doesn't wear pants. Everybody else wears pants. He does not wear pants, but the other characters wear pants.
Whatever. Cartoon characters get a pass because they oftentimes have fur and or feathers and or whatever down there, right? I mean, come on. We were wrapping up the show 20 minutes ago. Anyway, guys, I guess that's it. Oh, I'll plug the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this but haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, that'd be great. Because, It's a benefit to me and me alone.
Yeah.
So do it.
Smash that like
Smash that like
button and the
button.
notification bell.
I want the channel thing there so I can talk to people there too.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, Kayla, thanks for coming on and being a guest.
Thank you for having
moderator, come guest, come, God knows what if we expand into virtual shopping.
Yeah.
Virtual shopping.
I'm kind of excited for that. I really hope we do that.
I hope Elon Musk or someone else with money doesn't steal it before we get it off the ground. My eyes are on the skies, but there's other shit going on in the world. No one cares about virtual shopping. I think I got this on lock.
Yeah, I think so.
I
think
we
we could do it.
Half the proceeds to Bake Salmon. Well, whatever. We'll talk about it off the air. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. So until next time, I'm Dave.
I'm Krista.
And I'm Jamie Savage.
Saying that is the conclusion of this ARG.
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.